Thanks again for joining Biztexter.com, and today's video is all about the inbox. Now, if you're watching this video, you should have already watched how to set up your stuff in settings, how to import your contacts into your groups, how to set up your auto replies, and then of course set up your drip campaigns. If you haven't watched those videos, then I highly recommend you go back and starting over from the beginning and watching those, because then we're going to make a huge difference in how much money you make from our system. So in Inbox, no matter how many phone numbers you have, it combines them all. You can look at an inbox for a specific phone number only if you want, or you can use our feature for all numbers. And then you can use this is the most important feature right here. This icon right here is for filters, right? So you might want to filter between people who need a response. That's my favorite one. And this basically usually entails, somebody has sent something, our system didn't automatically respond, and so they're kind of just hanging out there. So these are ones that I need to deal with. So when you click on it, it'll pop up over here what the conversation was. So you can see the person asked who this was. The autoresponder said, who we are. They said something back. We sent something again, and we had a follow-up go in. They sent us, something else, and you can see this long conversation happening back and forth automatically. And we scroll to the bottom to find out what the last thing was said. All right, so they sent us a scripture, that kind of thing. So maybe this one we don't need to say anything. And we go on to the next one. And so we can see this person is one of the ones that triggered the VR headset. So they're interested. So they've said, that is awesome. Obviously, they got one of our follow-ups like, hey, I hope you're having a good day, whatever the case might be. They asked some questions. They got our latest link for our latest article on the biggest mistakes customers make. Then they said specials. We said, here's our specials. We're giving away a VR headset. Then I said, reply with the word headset to learn more. They replied with that word. It gives them, the description of the deal about the VR headset. And then they replied with the word subscription. But our system, for some reason, failed to respond. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this word and make sure, maybe I forgot to set up that custom responder. So I'm going to go over here. And generally what I do is I just open a new tab. It's good to have multiple tabs open. So I'll have auto replies open. And I'm going to use Control Find to do a quick search. Nope, I don't see anything that says subscription. Let's look through here. I think I forgot to create that custom responder. In that case, I would go ahead and create that custom responder, put in the keywords, key phrases like I showed you in the prior video, and then I would copy whatever that was, and I would go over here and I would paste my response. Then I would hit send. So I manually set that, but I also set it up so it doesn't miss this next time. And as you go through your inbox, you'll inevitably run into things where they said something that didn't make sense, or the system didn't understand, and then you can just highlight portions of what they've said, and then go paste it in your keywords list, right? So if somebody says, obviously that one doesn't make that much sense, but let's find another one. Okay, so they're saying something. Okay, new program. Okay, they're sending us solicitations. All right, here's one. Oh, that's the one sending us scriptures. So anyways, just go through your list and look for ones that potentially need a response. If they've said stop, our system automatically opted them out. You don't have to worry about responding. It sends them an auto reply that says you've been removed. You can see this person gave us bunny fingers back saying, peace. They're happy that we allowed them to opt out. Let's go through some more. Ivan. And somebody's opting out again. Okay. One of the problems you'll run into with your inbox is that people will send these weird emoticons, which can turn into these weird special characters. Obviously, there's not anything you can do really to deal with that. Let's go ahead and change this to unread. All right, so here's a different list of messages. All right, so these are people who. All right, yep. Okay. So anyways, you go through your inbox, and as each time you run into something that the responder didn't trigger, you go over here to your other tab. You find that responder. Let's just say it was sending campaigns, and you go to keywords. You drag this open right here, put a comma, and paste your phrase in there, whatever it was. And then also you can just manually write other things people would say, like what about subscription? What subscriptions do you have? Right, so whatever the phrases was, you can basically create additional versions of what they said and separate them by commas, and this will make sure it catches those next time. And so as you're managing your inbox, also continuously update your responders with new phrases, and over, slowly over time the system gets smarter, and your inbox management turns out to be not that big of a deal. As you can see here, there's not very many our system didn't already deal with, and that's saying a lot, because if you go to and look at our campaigns, we're sending large campaigns, 15,000 people, and so of course a lot of them are responding, but our autoresponders are catching most of them, but we still have to go through and manually respond to some people, and make sure that we're constantly making our autoresponder smarter. So that's the basics of the inbox. You can also do searches, of course, and like I said, you can specify a certain phone number so you just see that inbox only, but generally most of our users just leave it on all and have a combined inbox. So that's the basics of that. It's really important for you to go through your inbox and keep it clean. Right? You don't want to have any of these unreads, right? You want to make sure you're looking at what people are saying, constantly updating what phrases you have in your keywords, keyword responders, because obviously the goal is to have this eventually become almost so automated that you never have to do any work whatsoever. And the rest of everything you're doing just takes care of itself. So you imported your contacts, you set up your auto replies, you set up your drip campaigns, you sent out your campaign, and then you've monitored your inbox. And so that's the basics of our whole system. In the next video, I'll show you some of our other stuff, like how to deal with stats, log, history, what you can do in settings, that kind of thing. I'll give you a lot more information on that. But these last videos plus this one is really all you need to know to really get started in making money with this platform. So thank you so much again, and I hope you have a great day.